Right, hello lads and lasses and welcome back to Boys Down Under, where today we are talking about the engine. A lad who absolutely embodies Ange's mantra, we never stop, because he doesn't either. And of course the lad is Reo Hatate. Anyways, before we go any further, if you guys are enjoying the content and you want to help support the channel, the very best way to do so is to click the like button, click the subscribe button. Of course, the main goal is here to try and grow the channel, and obviously every single click of the subscribe button, most importantly, helps grow the channel the most, so I appreciate all of you who do help out. But without further ado, let's get into it. So, Reo Hatate. As we all know, he has missed the last 2 games due to injury. Or well, he's missed at least one of the games due to injury. The other was just Ange's reluctance to breathe word him back into the Celtic squad. Last season, before Reo came in, before Daisen Maeda came in, before Yusuke Ideguchi came in, before that winter break, Celtic had one of the worst injury crises that I can remember, and my dad can remember in recent times. Callum McGregor injured his hamstring. Kyogo did his hamstring twice. Jacku Marcus had 2 knee injuries twice. Well, one knee injury and he had injured it twice. David Turnbull did his hamstring. Jota did his hamstring as well. And those are the only ones I can remember off the top of my head. There are so many more injury concerns that we had in that first half of the season. It got to a point where we were left with no option but to play Owen Moffat and Joey Dawson from the B team. And it killed us. It absolutely killed us. Those injuries were one of the main contributing factors to why we dropped so many points in the first half of the season in both the league and in Europe for that matter as well. You know, if we didn't have as many injuries as we did, we would have beaten Real Betis on that opening match day and we would have seen ourselves in the Europa League knockouts. You know, and the last person, right, that would want to see that happen all over again is the lad who had to deal with it all, the gaffer, the boss, Postecoglou. And look, I can't blame him whatsoever as to why we haven't seen Reo Hatate in action since Flag Day. He was rested against Ross County, rested against Kilmarnock, and I do not disagree with this in the slightest. And I think there shouldn't be a single fan out there who disagrees with this either. Dingwall, you know, tough away day. You know, it's a long travel away. Ross County, they're a formidable opponent. You know, they're never going to back down from a challenge. Maybe, though, it was a bit too soon for Ange's liking to bring Reo back into the action. You know, he did say that he had a bit of muscle strain and whatnot, so it probably was too early for Reo. So you can understand that. We then, you know, we look at it, and you have to look at it with an open mind. Reo Hatate was probably 90% ready for that Ross County match, but not 100%. And did we have the services and the time and the availability to get him up to 100%? Yes. So that's what we did in the second week. I'm sure Reo was 100% ready to go for that Kilmarnock match. But, there's always a but, you look at the nature of this match. Oh, plastic pitch. Yes, I know, disgusting. And against Kilmarnock, a very physical team. Look no further than Carl Lafferty. He's just out there to injure players, kicking David Turnbull, you know, in the head and Moritz Jens in the balls. They're just out there to hurt people. They're out there to try and injure you, you know. So that, out of all games, is a game where Reo Hatate probably would not be best suited to make his return. Rather, we look at what is coming up this week. Back to Celtic Park against a very good Hearts team. I have to give it to them. They're a very good team. But the fixture and the place and the time, it just all works out for this to be when we bring back Reo. You know, he was announced, he was unveiled to the Celtic supporters in that first game against Hearts. Scored an absolute screamer and embarrassed Craig Gordon, and was a reason why we went on to win that match. But with that whole, you know, part aside, You know, Celtic, we have looked good recently. Each game we have been progressively getting better and better. We have been scoring more goals in each game as well. You know, and individually as well, Jota, Taylor, namely, two players who have really stood out in the opening part of this season. But if we flash back, all the way back to pre-season, which seems right now as a pretty distant memory, I can't lie, 3 weeks in and I've already forgotten who we've played in pre-season. I remember Legia Warsaw was there, and I remember that's about it. Blackburn and Norwich, I can't even remember. Banik Ostrava, and a couple other teams. I don't remember them. Anyways, in pre-season, he was an absolute different beast. You could tell he was having his 5 Weet-Bix pre-match every single time. He was so good, it prompted me to predict him as Celtic's player of the season. And we can't forget how damaging as well he was on arrival in Glasgow at Celtic. And if pre-season and last season was anything to go by, we should be in for a treat, because we know 2 crucial things about Reo Hatate. Number 1, when fresh and fit, he can decide a game by himself. Look no further than the 3-0 Derby win. 2 goals, 1 assist, directly involved in every single goal. His 2 goals he created by himself pretty much. The assist, it was absolutely pinpoint accurate. It wasn't a simple pass, it was a beautiful cross on his weak foot. He can change the game just like that, you know. But the second part is that when he is overused, when he is fatigued, when he is just overutilized in general, he can become a liability in Celtic's midfield because of that fatigue, because he doesn't have the energy to keep going. He's pushed himself to the point where he can no longer physically keep up anymore. But that's why I'm excited for his return, because we are bringing him back fresh. We're not bringing in a player who has played a full season in the J-League. We're bringing in a player who's had an adequate pre-season, a couple weeks off to deal and rehab up his just a small injury. Because I'm sure now, heading into the Hearts game, he is not only 100%, he is 110%. Because if we're able to afford to wait that extra little bit longer just to get him back up to a level where Ange is satisfied he can go out there and get a job done. You know, and Ange has mentioned this. He has said in press conferences, most notably recently, he said, "We have the luxury of having the squad now. That means we don't need to risk or push our players too much. We have no midweek games right now, so we can give them the rehab. Be conservative with them and get them right." And looking at our depth just for a moment, we have David Turnbull, Callum McGregor, and Aaron Moy. All 3 of them can fill that box-to-box role. Recently, we've seen David Turnbull start, of course. Then later on in the match, Aaron Moy will replace him, but he will slot into the defensive mid role with Callum McGregor pushing further forward in a position which a lot of Celtic fans believe he is much more capable and much more suitable playing. But I'll be the first to say it right here. Now, this isn't related to Callum McGregor. I have not been overly impressed with David Turnbull so far this season. Now, that doesn't mean he is doing a bad job. It means I just don't think he is playing at the capabilities, he is playing at the level he is capable of. He is going in there and doing his job, which I think is all we want from our midfielder right now, because you can't have a team with 11 stars because there's just too many clashes there. You need some players to take a step back and just play the role designated to them, which Turnbull is doing. I have to commend him for that. He hasn't put a foot wrong. But the thing with Turnbull is I just feel he is too similar of a player to Matt O'Reilly to be in the same lineup, pretty much. The tall, skillful playmaker sort of archetype. I feel him and Matt O'Reilly are far too similar in that sense, whereas you have Reo, who is small. He has an engine that will last at least a couple of months. You know, he covers at least 98% of the pitch in every single match, and he is very effective in both attack and defense. He's a different dynamic, is what I'm trying to get at. And that's what you need in a midfield trio. You don't need 3 of the same type of players. You need 3 different dynamics who can bounce off each other and help pretty much create an unstoppable force, which really we have seen on many occasions last season. We saw how dominant Celtic's midfield could be. And look, but mainly and importantly, because this is what the topic of the video is about, Reo, He is the most dynamic out of those three, without a doubt. I said it earlier and I'll say it again. He has the ability to change the game just by himself. So hopefully we see him back in action this weekend. And, you know, I think this weekend is a great time to get him back in action. Not because, you know, it will be great for the league campaign, not mainly because it is a very important fixture against Hearts, but because we're at that point where we have, I think there's just enough time to get Reo back up to full speed before what should be an absolutely ecstatically exciting, I am putting words together, but it should be an amazing European campaign, and one I am very much looking forward to in the Champions League, because it's been a while. It's been a long, hot minute since we've been in the Champions League, and I'm looking forward to it. And if the early part of the season and pre-season is to go anything by, Reo Hatate will be crucial to Celtic's success if we look to succeed in the Champions League, along with a host of other players. But for the purpose of this video, he is certainly one of them, and I know Ange knows that, and he will try and get him back up to speed, get him up to peak Reo Hatate as we commence. But that is all from me. So if you guys did enjoy the video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, leave in the comments below your thoughts on Reo. Do you think this weekend's a great time to bring him back in? Do you think we should wait another week? What are your thoughts on David Turnbull, how he's doing at the moment? Let me know. And until next time, hail, hail.